Good evening, I'm Colin Colgan, and you're welcome to the Business and Enterprise Show, Ireland's only live web TV based business programme. My guest tonight is Yasmin Mazarani of Cavan Lisbon. Yasmin, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
As always, we start off, before we start talking about your business enterprise, we always like to find out what's the story behind Yasmin.
Okay. What would you like to know exactly,
Everything,
Colin?
gory details, pictures if you have them.
I'm afraid I haven't brought any pictures with me tonight,
Look, we have some here.
Well, I'm originally from Liverpool, as you
I
can
never would
probably
have guessed.
guess from the accent. My mum's from Cavan originally, so we used to spend holidays here as kids. At my uncle's farm, so like a lot of city kids would have done it in those days, and obviously I just developed a passion and a love for the county. So when I got the opportunity to come back and relocate here, I thought, why not?
Even then, Cavan must have been hugely different from Liverpool. It must have been an absolutely massive culture shock.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I suppose I started coming over here when I was about 3, so I started to develop an idea and an opinion of what Ireland was about. But yes, it was completely different, very laid back. I remember sitting in the pub, which you wouldn't obviously have done in a big city, with my uncle, eating Tayto crisps and drinking Cavan Cola and of course
lemonade,
and red lemonade and all those sort of things, and just being on the farm. There was just a great sense of freedom, helping to milk the cows, feed the calves, make the hay, all that sort of stuff. So it was great fun.
We only moved up from kind of Dublin, which certainly wouldn't have been as cosmopolitan as Liverpool, and we found the laid backness of the place fantastic. I would imagine coming from Liverpool, especially when you were coming over on holidays, the difference between a city like to a farm at Cavan must have been immense. So you decided to move over here and set up your first business venture.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was Contemporary Living magazine, so a lifestyle magazine for the County Cavan area initially, and then it extended out towards Potts of Monaghan and Lower Fermanagh. So the magazine itself...
And this was a physical magazine, or what's the technical term?
Yeah, well, a hard copy magazine.
Hard copy, that's right. I knew you had kind of some technical term that'd be above me.
Yeah, and my background myself is print publishing, so I've been in publishing since 1996. So it was a very normal thing to do. I think a lot of people, when they do go into their first business venture, it's usually something that they've got experience in. So for me, it was just... It wasn't really such a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Moving to a different country was the big leap of faith for me, to be honest.
Again, you're talking 11 years back, so you're looking at the early 90s, mid-90s.
Well, 11 years ago, 2002.
Sorry, the 90s, I beg your pardon,
yeah.
Certainly we were kind of in the height of the Celtic Tiger at the time. What made you feel Cavan was ready for a lifestyle magazine?
It's strange, really. As I said, I used to come over as a kid, so I have I remember the way Cavan Town used to be, with Sean Young's, which is now Eason's, and things like that. So with all the really old shop fronts and stuff. I hadn't been for many years, since I was in my late teens, and just came over for a break with my mum and my sister. We just thought, what the hell, we haven't been there for ages. Let's go to Ireland for a long weekend, bank holiday weekend. We came over, and I remember going through Dunn's and chatting to my mum and just said, gosh, wouldn't my lifestyle magazine go down well in Cavan Town? It's changed so much since I was so much younger. And it was just a throwaway comment. It wasn't anything intentional at all. I went back home to Liverpool. At the time I was in sort of in two minds as to whether to change my job or to apply for a new job. And this thought comes back into my head. What about setting up your own lifestyle magazine in Ireland? And I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I thought, you know what? If I don't do it, I'll always wonder, what if? And so that's how the story began.
So that's great. I've decided to set up a lifestyle magazine. Great in theory. You've 2 issues that you have to sort out. 1, you have to get content for it.
Yeah.
And then 2, you need that all-important advertising.
Yeah.
Was a lifestyle magazine in what, 11 years ago was effectively a rural town, a hard sell?
It was a bit of a hard sell to begin with. I think what a lot of people said, well, why do we need this? We've got our local radio station, we've got our local newspaper. What's a lifestyle why do we need this lifestyle magazine? And
well,
so,
if I could just stop you there, a question you raised, which I should have raised earlier, is what is a lifestyle magazine?
well, a lifestyle magazine really, I suppose, is a nice glossy coffee table magazine that focuses on lovely aspirational aspects of our lives. So whether it's homes and interiors, fashion, beauty, that type of thing. And so really that was the remit for Contemporary Living.
So if Cabin Living was the local version of it, what would be the national or international version of it?
Oh,
or equivalent of it, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's lots of lifestyle magazines. I suppose Image would be one that jumps to mind, really.
So it would be an Image for Cabin, basically.
I suppose so. Yeah. Although Image really is very much more to do with fashion and beauty, and would possibly have more of a female readership. And Contemporary Living, although it did target women, there's many gentlemen I would have met who would have said that they would have read it from cover to cover. So I think it probably targeted everybody, really.
So anyway, so that's what a magazine was. So we were back to getting our content and getting our advertising.
Yeah, well, content wasn't difficult for me, purely because I'd worked in editorial, as I say, since 1996. I was used to researching articles, coming up with editorial concepts and ideas for a magazine. That really wasn't the big thing. Sales was a big thing for me. I come from an editorial background. And as you know yourself, being self-employed or running your own business, you have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you have to sell your concept, you have to sell your service, whatever it is. So that really was an alien concept to me. And I suppose maybe it's just down to my personality. I just thought, well, you know, if you give me the basic outline of what to do, I'll be able to do it. So I remember sitting down with one of the sales team in the Liverpool Daily Post and Echo, which is where I used to work in Liverpool. And I just said to her, can you just tell me the basics of sales and what I need to do to sell some advertising?
None of this 3 or 4 years in college for you.
It's so naive, really, when I look back on it now. But that was the training I had, and then just the gumption to go ahead and approach local businesses and tell them my sales story.
And the startup capital,
yeah,
was that large? If so,
it was.
Did you have to tout around banks? Thank God you don't have to do it today.
I know. Well, for me, thankfully, I had some savings, so that's how it was modest. It was my own personal savings, so that's how I started.
And did the magazine break even or make a profit from issue 1, or what was the plan?
Yeah, well, for me, it was to break even within 3 issues, because I did have such a model.
Because you don't only finances with 3 issues. Isn't it a great kind of thing to say, well, how do you know it'll make profit by 3? Because the money will run out then.
Basically, that's it. And I think that's how most business people start, really. Yeah. So as you say, the sales story had to work. I had to go out and sell the advertising, because if I didn't and start to break even, the magazine, you know, my business venture would have ended within 3 to 4 months.
Now, I know selling advertising is a hard sales task at the best of times.
Yeah.
My own son did it for the Dundalk Democrat.
Yeah.
And he was going out selling ads in a 100 and whatever year old newspaper that had been there from time immemorial. And what was he selling? He was selling ads in the local paper, which everybody knew.
Yeah.
There was you, not even from around these parts, as they'd say, selling ad space in something that wasn't there. You know, give me your ad and honest, when I print my magazine next week, it'll be in it. That must have taken you must be some salesman.
Well, I must be. I mean, as I say, I don't have that background. I suppose I just had a very honest way about me. I had a good sales story. I had a good history, a proven track record in the things that I'd done in the UK. And people believed me. I mean, as you say, I mean, I'm always very, very grateful to the first local advertisers and local businesses that put their faith in me, and supported me, because without those it wouldn't have happened.
Was it a paid magazine, or was it a free magazine or a free sheet, whatever it is?
It was free. So the magazine was available in local supermarkets across the county, so people could just pick it up as they did their local shopping.
And distributed, and did you pile them all in the back of the car and have a little route map?
I certainly did, yeah. To begin with, that was it. As I say,
then it became beneath you. Your minions did
when I became a success, yes. No, well, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I did. And really, I suppose, my goodness, I got to know every aspect of the county. I went to every little village and every town that there was in Cavan when I started up, first to sell advertising, and secondly then to deliver the magazines. So really, I suppose, from just knowing Cavan as a little farm where I used to come on holidays just outside Cavan town, within a matter of months, I felt like I knew every corner of the county. You know, it was an incredible steep learning curve, really.
And what was the print one?
The print run to begin with was 8,000 copies, and as
in itself a leap of faith.
Yes, I know.
I know it was free, and
I know.
But that doesn't mean when you came back with the next edition,
I know.
that there wasn't, you left 100 copies in a shop and there was 97 left.
I know. I think, you know, when you talking to you now, I suppose it makes me realise how brave I was. I didn't think.
And still are.
Thank you very much for saying so. I didn't really think so. I just thought, I've got this gut instinct that this is the right thing to do. I've got this experience. Okay, it's only in the editorial side of things. I've written business plans before for my employers in order to produce new publications or spin-offs of publications. I've got the skills. I can go for it.
And how long did the hard copy last for?
From 2002 through till 2010.
So 8 years, and
Yeah.
it started off with 8,000. What did it peak at?
12,000 copies.
12,000 copies.
Yeah. So
And was it a weekly, monthly,
it was
bi-monthly?
10 issues a year.
10
so
issues a year.
there was a double issue at Christmas time and a double issue in the summer period. Yeah.
So you could kind of go off on extensive holidays with the profits from this fantastic
That was it.
venture.
Exactly. Yeah, time so I could have time off. Yeah.
And you then realised that it was that was not the way forward, and then you moved to a digital format.
Yeah.
And maybe when we come back from this ad break, we might look at how it converted to a digital format. So come back to us after this short ad break, and we'll continue our discussion with Yasmin from Cavan Living.